guys, it's Miss Harrison, and I know that we're not in school right now and I'm not getting to see you every day like I'm used to, but I thought we could still learn a few things about art from home. So I do have some books that I'm going to be reading to you guys, and this book is called Come Look With Me, and it's exploring landscapes. And landscapes, if you can remember, are pictures that the artist has made of the land or the world outside. So we see mountains and trees and buildings and things like that. That's what makes a landscape. And that's one of our subjects of art. So I found this book at a resale shop called Second and Charles, which has a lot of really good secondhand art books. But let's look at some of these pictures. By Peter Bruegel the Elder. I may mess some of these names up. But in this painting, we obviously can see that it's a landscape because we can see mountains and trees, and we can see this ice rink down here. There's also movement in this painting with the hunters, the people on the ice, and the birds. But also, we know that it's very cold outside because of, obviously, we see snow. We see the color scheme of cool colors. So we see blue and some greens, but mostly the blues and grays. In a landscape, what we're also looking for is a sense of distance. So how does this show distance, you might think? Well, we have areas here, such as where the hunters and the dogs are, and this is going to be close up to us. So this is going to be our foreground. It's called the foreground, it's the thing closest. Then we have something here in the middle, and it's called our midground. So all these people that are skating down here are in the midground, and their size helps us to see that there's a distance because there's not the same size as these people up here. And then in the very back, we have our background, and that's where we can see these mountains, which we know mountains are big things. And so the fact that they seem small or equal size to the hunters, which are close to us, creates that idea of distance. This is called the Lackawanna Valley by George Inness. So yet again, we see that sense of distance, foreground, midground, background. I like this boy right here. I'm thinking if we took him out, this painting would not be near as interesting. But with him there, what are we feeling? He's looking, he's seeing the world around him. This is the Oregon Trail. When I was a kid, there was a video game called The Oregon Trail. Now, you probably have seen that and heard about it. This is by Albert Bierstadt. What is the mood of this painting? It's not sad because it doesn't have the gloomy colors. But it does give that feeling of the West because of the oranges and those warm colors. It's probably warmer. And I think the time of day is probably sunset, right before the sun goes down, which leads me to believe that all these people are setting up camp for the night. One that we all know very well. This is The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. So, does this scene look warm or does this scene look cold? We do have some warm colors scattered throughout, but those are stars, which we know are big balls of gas, so we know that they're warm. The sky it looks cold, it's cool colors. What I really love about The Starry Night is the movement in the sky. That principle of art of showing movement to make the eye feel like it's traveling across the sky. Oh my. This is Henry Rousseau, The Repast of the Lion. You can see this lion here has a crocodile, I think, or like a lizard. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think's in his mouth? We have the background is very obvious here with the sun in the background. This is one instance when I think you put the sun in the background, it actually works. Then you have midground with the hills and these smaller plants, and then obviously your foreground is big pieces of grass. So are we up high or are we down low? Are we looking low through the jungle, or are we looking from the bird's eye view? And the answer is obviously that we're looking very low in the jungle. We're not up high, and we can see this lion with his meal. The Summer House Bayshore by William J. Glackens. I just really love the colors in this. So what tells us that this is a summer scene? Because this is a summer house. What tells us that this is summer? I think some of the grass being green, the flowers are in bloom. The sky has that real nice summery look, like right before the sun sets in the summer. It gets this really clear bluish purple pink tone to it that's really pretty. There's this orange feeling over here, although you could say that that looks more fall-like. But yeah, this is the summer house. Looks very pretty. So this is called a tessellation. So we have these birds. They start out looking like the plots of land, and then they turn into these birds. And so you can see that there's a pattern here: bird, bird, bird. And then in the negative space, it's also the shape of a bird. So these start out negative space white and then turn into white birds. These start in the negative space black and turn into black birds. So you have positive and negative space. Pretty cool. And this is a woodcut, so he carved this in the wood. What he would do is take a piece of wood and sand it down and then carve all of his little details into the wood. And then he would take the wood and roll paint across it, or ink, and then press the paper down onto the wood block. So this is a print of what he actually had on the wood block. Ooh, I like this. This is called The New York Waterfront by Stuart Davis. Now this is an abstract landscape, right? We can't really tell what all of these are. We think this is the New York waterfront, so these must be buildings of some kind. But it's abstract. It doesn't make it's not realistic. It's not making complete sense to us. But you can see roads, you can see little pipes and skyscrapers and things like that. So we know that it is a landscape. So, very cool. He put together parts of what you'd see along the waterfront, but they're all over the place. So, and there's lots of fun colors and lots of shapes. So, very cool. And he uses the idea of shape and what we already know about shape to lead us to believe we're looking at certain things. So like this right here, this shape on its own, we don't really associate that with kind of like a pipe coming out of a tower. But when we know that this is the New York waterfront, we're like, oh yeah, that's part of a building. This is called Route 6 Eastham. And I like the perspective in this painting. We can see these telephone poles or power lines, that they're getting way smaller as we get farther away. So there is an obvious vanishing point in this landscape. I think the time of day, what are we looking at? The light is strongest coming from over here and not from above. So our time of day is probably either early morning or late, or like right before the sun sets, because the light is coming in from the side. This is called Red Hills and Bones. It seems very warm, all these warm colors. It seems like it's a very hot place and desolate. It's isolated. I don't see anything there. In fact, the one thing that was there is clearly dead. So very interesting. I would not really want to go visit this place. this is another abstract painting. Pretty cool. It's by Helen Frankenthaler. And it's called Mountains and Sea. So look at it for a while. Think, where are the mountains? I see the sea here, and I'm wondering if these green things are the mountains. This might actually be a boat. I don't know. What do you guys see? All right, so this is a photograph, I believe. This is Michigan Avenue with a View of the Art Institute by Richard Estes. And what's great about a photograph is we are getting real-time perspective. Nobody's having to create the perspective for us, it's already there. So in our background, you can see all these littler rooftops. Our midground, you see some of these smaller buildings and the people. And then in our foreground, you can see this one big building with the things displayed in the window. And one thing I really like about this is the reflection that we see. We can see some things that are happening over here in this window, which is pretty cool. There's also movement here with the flag. Hope you enjoyed this.